Hey, Emily. How you doing today? And we're back for the third fucking time. What the fuck is going on with the live today? But it's all sketchy as shit. Pissing me off. Damn it all. I've disconnected like 20 times. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with it. It's not making any sense to me either. Someone who doesn't. Oh, wait. We gotta go back. Someone who doesn't believe it's possible to know for sure. Yeah, whatever. Semantics. All right, so we have guest requests. I'm just gonna jump in with Peach again. As Peach has going on.
Okay, does it work now?
Yes, it does. It's working good. How you doing?
Okay. I'm doing good. How about you? So, I'm actually a Christian and I've seen you on live like a lot and I've kind of debated it. I'm mostly, I guess I'm not a new Christian. I've been Christian since I was 12, but I've gotten more into it and I'm trying to, I guess, challenge myself. I'm not exactly sure what to ask. I really just want to challenge myself, I guess, in the Bible. I guess
Okay.
what kind of questions or I guess what started your atheism? I believe you're atheist, right?
Yes, ma'am. I read the Bible. That's what started me on atheism. I read the Bible word for word from a neutral position without Jesus goggles on.
Okay. Um, what stirred you away
It
from it?
was an effort to discover. I'm sorry, repeat your question.
I'm sorry, if I interrupt you. What stirred you away from it,
No.
I guess I'd say.
The lack of morality by God. And when you start reading the book, you find out that God is not a very good person and not a very good character. Imagine for a second that you and I were sitting down and we were putting together a puzzle. We would use critical thinking skills to evaluate puzzle pieces and fit them where they go. The Christian God in the Bible was, if he was sitting down doing a puzzle, he would immediately become pissed off because two puzzle pieces didn't fit together and he would throw the whole fucking thing in the garbage. That's the Christian God's answer for every single problem he has. Fucking kill it. Creates man, he's unhappy with it, floods the earth and kills him. Repopulates the earth. This tribe pissed him off, he wipes out that tribe. This tribe pisses him off, he wipes out that tribe. This tribe pisses him off. He doesn't wipe them out, but he enjoys torturing the shit out of them. It's just, he just cannot not destroy shit. He indiscriminately murders children, commands the enslavement of people. It's just, he's not a good guy.
Yeah, I know I guess I haven't really dove much into the Old Testament. I've mostly been in Revelation and the New Testament. I know
Revelation
from,
is Revelation is a retelling of the fall of Rome. It is not a prophetic book.
yeah, that's just mostly what I've been studying in, so I can't really say much for the Old Testament and how God was in that. I know that I mainly feel closer to Jesus as God, but I don't know how to explain it.
Jesus
I feel
is
like,
Jesus is still the
okay,
same God from the Old Testament. That's
yeah.
what Christians get confused. They sit here and they think that Jesus is somehow this different God. No, it's the same God from the Old Testament. He's
Mm.
jealous. He's angry. In Isaiah 45:7, which is Old Testament, he admits that he creates evil. It's the same God. And
Okay. I'm just
I don't, I'm not trying to be rude, but this is
no,
something that
that's
needs to be
fine.
said. If you're going to be a Christian and you're going to have a belief in this thing, then you need to read the entire book, word for word, page for page. You don't cherry pick it. Don't just listen to what some pastor or Bible study kid has to say. Learn the religion and do yourself
Yeah.
even one better. Learn the anthropology, the archaeology, and the history behind the religion.
Yeah, I definitely want to. It's something that I'm newly discovered in because for 3 years I was in a very bad relationship, and I mostly like I found like peace in mostly like alcohol and drugs, and then once I came back home to my original state, I just found myself happier whenever I went away from those drugs and came closer to my belief, my religion. Um, it's just something that's worked out for me, and I'm just trying to challenge myself now, mainly. Um, I'm not sure what to ask. I'm really sorry.
So I'm going to give you my perception on that.
Yes.
You struggled. You turned to drugs and alcohol, which are not inherently bad. There's nothing evil about drugs and alcohol. I have friends who do cocaine uh, recreationally, and they keep it in moderation. They don't overdo it. They don't let that shit take control of their lives. They aren't evil people. They're not disgusting or immoral. I have a lot of friends that drink, but they do so in moderation and they don't let the alcohol control them. But it seems to me that you traded one bad relationship for another, because how God behaves in the Christian religion is identical to an abusive relationship. God says, uh, I am the most important thing. You, you aren't shit. You're a sinner. You're evil. Without me, you're worthless, irredeemable. If you leave me, the only place left for you is an eternal punishment. Either you love me or I'm going to punish you. The Christian God is an abusive. The Christian religion is an abusive relationship. This is the exact same behavior we see in domestic abuse issues.
Uh, yeah, I guess
You,
I can see where it comes from just because there's a lot of
you,
things in the Bible that I don't know, I feel
you
like
your
it's a bit,
your love for yourself is going to be so much more powerful than this love that you think you're feeling right now.
I don't know, because every time I pray, I do feel something, and I've
Yep.
felt a lot
And you could
happier
trade that
than
for
indulging in
meditation and
drugs.
get you could trade that for meditation and get the same result.
Mm, I don't know. I just feel more at peace with my belief. I guess I just mostly came on here to understand an atheist point of view because I've never like not argued, but I've never talked to an atheist. I've only been around Christians, so it's like it's nice to try to understand another like perspective because I know most
Well, I mean,
Christians they aren't kind.
you're definitely on the right track. Most Christians won't do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Most Christians avoid this conversation like it's the plague. No, but
No, I
most
want to
Christians
be,
don't like
yeah.
to. They don't like to question. They don't like to question their beliefs.
Yeah, I like to indulge in different like not lean on my own understanding, but try to understand
Well,
someone else's point of view and why they strayed away.
I would highly recommend leaning on your understanding. That's how this world works. You know, you're not going to make decisions based on faith. If you do, it's a really bad idea. Typically, we make decisions based on consequence, understanding the consequences to our decisions. If you were to go through life making decisions based on faith, you'd probably end up dead.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like we're not really promised tomorrow, so I mean, I could die in my sleep tonight. So, I mean, it's just
Well, then I
something we
invite you
just
to
need to
walk
reckon with.
across the road without looking both ways. Stop wearing your seatbelt. Don't go to the hospital when you feel sick. And the next time your house is on fire, don't call the fucking fire department. Because if you're going to put all your faith in God, then put all of your faith in God.
I typically do, yes.
All right, then. Um, that's tragic, and I'm actually a little sorry to hear that. Uh,
Well, it's helped a lot. I mean, again, I came out of that relationship and then I abused drugs and then it's just ever since I've gotten out of that, I've felt better. Like I don't, because I was really, really sad. So I would use drugs to feel myself become unsad. So whenever I got closer to my faith, I felt myself become more of myself.
And I said,
It's really hard.
there's probably another healthier alternative to this. Praying is essentially meditation, except it's to an invisible friend. With meditation, you're focused on yourself. You're giving yourself a moment to think and gain clarity. Meditation, it works. It's proven to work, even from a medical perspective. Whereas prayer, intercessory prayer, doesn't work. We've tested intercessory prayer. It works at the rate of chance, 50-50. Your prayer might come
So
true and it might not.
yeah, I believe it normally it's like to give me some sort of lesson, like, because I would abuse prayer to the point where it was like, oh, I really pray that I can get rich. I really pray that I can get rich without realizing that I should be grateful for what I have rather than trying to keep praying to get rich, because it's more of like a selfish desire that I was praying for rather than trying to learn and understand more things. I don't know
Well,
how to
religion,
explain it.
the Christian religion comes from a selfish desire. You're doing things because you want the reward of heaven and out of the fear of hell. You're not doing things because, it's the good thing to do. I mean, this is moral philosophy.
So, for the regular meditation with yourself, I don't know. What do you normally believe what would happen after we die? Because I mean, that is more of like a comfort to me, knowing that we will go to heaven and then we're promised a better life than the world.
The
So it's
world is
like,
one of
I'm
the
sorry.
things. There's so many things about Christianity that really irritate the shit out of me, and one of them is that this world is fallen. I hate that. It is not fallen. We do not live in a fallen world. And if people would stop saying that, then we would stop acting like it. It's self-fulfilled prophecy. If you're going to sit here and say that the world is fallen, the world is evil, well, then that's what the world is going to be. If instead people came together and said, the world is beautiful and we can do right by each other for the right reasons, and instead of wasting all of their energy worshiping a fucking god they can't prove exists, instead of doing that, and they gave their love, compassion, and faith to each other, then this wouldn't be a fallen world.
Oh, yeah, I don't believe it's a fallen world. I do see beauty in it, but it's also I've been through a lot in my life, so it's hard
Yeah,
to
bad shit happens.
yeah.
That's not evidence that this is a fallen world. We're not
No, it's just
sinners.
it's hard to see the good things in life sometimes whenever you've been through so much, and it's hard to like I don't know, accept that there are good people out there. For a while, it was hard for me to accept that there's any good men because of what I've all been through with my stepdad and my normal father. It's like it was hard for me to accept that, but then I grew and I was like, well, not everyone's like that. So I don't believe it's a fallen world at all. I believe there's still beauty in it. It's just there are a lot of bad things
There's
that
Yeah,
happen in the world.
bad things do happen, and we've got to find a way to correctly process those things. I have PTSD from my childhood. Oh well, my way of dealing with it is fuck it. My childhood is over. There's nothing I can do, go back to do and fix that. The best I can do is try to fix today or be better today and tomorrow. Um, I do this from an atheist perspective. I don't do this with a God. There's no Jesus in my life. I'm not praying and I'm not gaining comfort from those things. I'm doing it on my own 2 feet. I have support from friends. I go live and I get a lot of support from my channel. Um, I have things in my life. I go ride motorcycle. Um, I go to the gun range. I watch anime. There are a lot of things that I do in my life that give my life purpose. I'm single. Been single for 2 years. I plan on staying that way because I don't need a person in my life to fulfill me. I can do it on my own. Um, If I meet somebody down the road and we hit it off and have a relationship, so be it. But I'm not going to actively look for it. I'm comfortable with myself.
That's good.
And I'm doing all of this, mind you, while I'm damn near broke. Like, I'm actually pretty much broke. I'm behind on bills.
Yeah.
While I'm on dialysis for kidney failure, coming out of an abusive childhood to an alcoholic mother, being in foster care, being in the juvenile detention system. My life has just been one series of bad hands dealt to me after another. And I deal with it. I process it. I'm an adult. I move on. I deal with the next problem.
Yeah, it's still hard for me to do that for myself, I guess. I'm more of like caught up in my emotions. I'm only 21, so I'm still stepping into life and understanding about being an adult and everything. So it's harder for me. Um, but definitely I do find myself being happier in my faith. Um, I understand your side too. I'm not like ragging on you because you're an atheist or anything. I just wanted to come on here to really, I guess, get questions and ask what you can challenge me on. I already got the some notes written down, but I was just mostly like just
Did
trying
you
to
have any other
understand.
questions?
That's the thing. I got on here and my mind went blank because I got so nervous.
I mean, I'm always live. So what you can do is you can maybe write down some questions, and then you could come back on another live another day, and you can ask them.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I like the
Okay.
challenge and I do enjoy your lives.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Even though you and I are on the opposite spectrums of this, it's nice that we can have the conversation.
Yeah, I definitely love the respect that people can give to each other despite having completely different beliefs.
Yeah. You have a
Well,
good
yeah,
day.
you too. Thank you.
Bye. For those of you in the comment section, calm down, especially the Christians. Good God, just mellow out. We are having a conversation. We are not going to sit here and proselytize. Calm down. Jesus. All right, next guest request is Coda. Oh, Coda didn't connect. Coda jumped out. So, next guest is probably.
Hello.
How's it
I
going?
am not Christian, but I'm Wiccan and Norse pagan, and I just like the last person. I wanted to get like your take on some of my like beliefs and stuff because I've never been an atheist. I was forced into Mormonism at a young age. Um,
So
so
you traded Mormonism for Wicca? That's a hell of a, well, I guess it's not a hell of a leap. I think it happens commonly. You're probably in the middle of deconstruction. Go ahead, ask a question.
what do you think? Like Wiccan people, specifically people that worship the Norse pagan gods, why do you think that we like worship them? Like for me it's a way of like channeling my like energy and stuff or whatever, but why do you think a lot of people worship these gods that you think don't exist? Whether they do or do not
Because
exist, that's a whole other story.
they grew up in a fucking in a place where they were convinced that untrue statements were true. So here's a very telling study that we have available. The University of Boston interviewed children ages, I think, 4 to 6. And what they found out was children who were born in religious households have a harder time telling the difference between reality and fiction,
That's
while
true.
children who were born in non-religious households have a very easy time telling the difference between fiction and reality. So what you're going through is what I would consider a form of deconstruction. It happens a lot. People leave Christianity and they're still looking for that supernatural truth that they've been clinging to their whole life. So they
Right.
step out the religion they're in, and they end up in paganism or Wiccan or then spirituality. Eventually, they become agnostic, and then eventually probably an atheist. It just takes time. Every atheist I know went down that road.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Also you saying that like we cling on to fictional things, that makes a lot of sense because I do cling on to a lot of like fiction books and stuff. Even like books, I'm like, I have to cling on to this false reality. I think it's escapism. A lot of
Yeah,
most
that's
religion is
exactly
escapism.
probably definitely what it is. It's escapism, but it's the process by which you're trying to heal your brain. Your brain, you were programmed, literally brainwashed and indoctrinated to believe these magical claims about a sky daddy. And now in that deconstruction, you've got to go through the stages. And that's, I think, where you're at. You're probably going through the stages of deconstruction.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
So do yourself
One
a
last
favor, just
question.
keep questioning. If you keep questioning, eventually you're going to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I even as a Norse pagan witch, I still question a lot because I'm not very quick to trust people or things or like anything. I try to look into every little thing before I make a final decision, and I'm still not final on this. So that makes a lot more sense.
Well, find a way to trust people. Recognize that you're still going to get hurt. It's going to happen. People are going to be unreliable. But to make the decision to stop trusting people, I think, is an unhealthy one.
Yeah,
And
I'm working on it.
I think that's a problem with a lot of people. You know, they got hurt by so many people and then decided, well, fuck people. That's not how we should be responding to this. We should
Yeah.
maintain our trust, because the moment that somebody comes into your life that you can genuinely trust, you're not going to give it to them.
Yeah, that's true. I have a hard time trusting because a lot of my life experience has just been people fucking me over. So I
Same.
am working on it. I'm going to therapy.
Yeah, I have narrowed down my friendships to 4 people in my life.
Hey, if that makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. That's also another one
Well,
of
no,
my viewpoints. If whatever makes you happy, do it. As long as you're not actively harming other people, I give no shits.
well, the thing is, it's not about just me being happy. That's not what it's about.
Then what is it about for you?
So I don't want 100 friends. I don't want
Right.
100 friends. I don't necessarily want to be popular. What I want is quality.
Quality over
I
quantity.
will, yeah, quality over quantity. I want the friends I have. I want to know that the friends I have will be there, and that I will be able to be there for them. I have to constantly fight my desire. We are all innately to some degree selfish.
Yep.
And so I have to constantly educate myself and remind myself not to be that guy, to be more giving, to be more considerate of others. And when I have friends that give me the space to do that, well, then it's a bonus for me.
Right.
I don't immediately trust people right off the bat. I'm not saying to do that. That's a shit surefire way to set yourself up for failure. But I genuinely do try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right. All right.
I'll get
One
to know
last
somebody
question.
and then make a judgment call.
That's a good thing. One last question that isn't really related to the live at all. I just got my ears pierced and eventually want to stretch them, and I noticed you had gauges. Do you have any like tips?
Take your time. Do it the right way. I did it the wrong way. Don't do what I did. Don't blow your fucking ears out. It fucking hurts.
I can imagine.
So use the tapers, the spike tapers.
Right.
And take your time. It should take several years to get to where I am right now. Well, it actually did take me several years, but I skipped sizes when I was early and I was still really small at like 000. I was skipping sizes and I was blowing my ears out. I remember vividly one time I forced a gauge in, and it popped my ear and it hurt so bad. I slammed my face into a wall to distract from the pain.
Yeek. Yikes.
Yeah, so don't do it the way I did it. Take your time.
I will not.
Go through the gauges. Use the tapers because they're the easiest.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll leave so you can get another guest on. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You have a wonderful night.
You too.
Oh, what else we got here? All right, so those of you in the live, right here is my Venmo and my Cash App. I am kidney failure and I am on dialysis. I do work a job. I'm actually going to go to that job here in about 30-ish minutes. But I appreciate any donations. $1, however many, if you can afford it. If you can afford it. If you like my content, if you think it's worth a few bucks, I appreciate it. All right, moving on to the next. Darius.
Hello.
Hello, my
Hello.
friend.
Hey. All right, man. Off top, I'm gonna let you know I am a God believer, but
Okay.
I do not believe religion or Bible. I'm a black man, obviously, and I know the history. Okay. My question for you is, let me see. My best friend, he just happened to be atheist, and we're best friends. We're in business together. We had discussions. He gets all heated, mad, jumping, so I never really talk about it. But here's the thing he never lets me get to, and I'm gonna see if you allow this, but no one ever wants to know why you believe. They assume it's because your parents made you read the Bible and go to church. In my case, I was the guy that questioned everything. I got in trouble all the time. And the reason for my belief is not because I read a Bible. That's the last thing that, converted me. There's a lot of guys like me out here. And I just want to get your take on, are you one of those people, or how do you just say, if you believe in a God, you're an idiot, that's it? What's your stand?
By and large, I think the vast majority of Christians are indoctrinated into the religion at a young age.
True.
That's not to say all Christians. Some people can become convinced of untrue things. We know that Isaac Newton believed in alchemy, even though he is the literal father of gravity.
Right.
He believed in alchemy, and he believed in numerology, this idea that there's a hidden coded message in the Bible that is the secret to all things. And so Isaac Newton was wrong about a lot of things that he believed in. That didn't make him stupid. But it's a stark reminder that the human brain is fallible and makes mistakes.
Right.
I'm not sure why you're convinced that there is a God, but I can almost guarantee it has nothing to do with critical thinking.
Well, that's the thing. I just happen to be a critical thinker on a lot of things. I generally, as I said, I got in trouble as a kid. I questioned the things that I knew didn't make sense, and I've later found my own answers. But I don't want to get on here and say exactly what that is, because it's a form of preaching, if you will. I don't want to be categorized as that. However, I'll be happy to do this off, with one-on-one and through a DM or something like that. But, the critical thinking part is one of the things that I do the most. So if I can throw an example out there for you, the world created in 7 days. As a child, I knew that wasn't possible. Some way I knew. And, I knew, but then I looked and went back and revisited the words that were written that all these people go by, and it turns out it lines up perfectly.
No, it
That's a
doesn't.
big, what's that?
No, it doesn't.
Well, and that's the thing I was going to say. Now, that's one of the big, with all what we've been shown and taught in church, and they say this and that, they got it wrong. They got it very wrong. But when you got a critical thinker that believes in God, it changes the game. The argument
No, it doesn't.
changes. Well,
I'm not trying to
maybe
be rude, man, but
no.
nothing about the Bible is even remotely true in regards to the nature of reality.
There's a lot I agree with, but at the same time, there's not enough time in this live, obviously, to get into the debate of it. But I'll be anxious to show. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want to get once I show you what way I see it with critical thinking of believing in God. It's a different argument. You know what I mean? But
All right,
I understand your stand.
you believe in God. Why do you believe in God?
There's several reasons. The number one reason, the last reason, let me put it that way. Several went insane. I can think off the top of my head at least 65 reasons in my life. One of them came about last year. Anyway, once again, I don't want to get into the preaching thing, but I
Well, that's
was
why you believe. I asked you why you believe. So like that's an important part of this conversation.
okay. I believe because things have happened and I've seen things and things been proven to me that's literally impossible. And I welcomed people to disprove it or show me, because I was like, I want to make sure I'm not just a nut here. So
It's not a matter of disproving it. The thing is, you witness things, you had an experience, you can't explain it. You're assigning agency to God.
right, it was
So
directed. Uh,
critical thinking. If I'm sitting in my bedroom and I witness an object get up and float across my room, critical thinking dictates that I start with, am I hallucinating? Is my
right,
brain playing tricks on me? Have I had a mental break?
right.
Critical thinking does not include, oh, something supernatural, a ghost did it. So I'm going to start with the things that I do know are possible. I do know that the brain can break, that we can hallucinate, that we can, be under the influence of gas or other
Right,
such
right.
things.
True.
And that's where my brain's going to go. I'm going to give a naturalistic explanation to the thing I just witnessed, not a supernatural one.
Okay. And I'm with you. I'm with you. And again, I am a critical thinker, but that's the fine line. You can't be a critical thinker if you believe in God. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, and that's one of the things. Now, here's what I welcome even my best friend. I said, I tell you what, I'm not saying you got this. I'm saying, well, explain it to me. And the explanation failed as a critical thinker. It failed to disprove. See what I'm saying? That's been my problem my entire life. But I finally realized, like, okay, this is not just a brain fart. At least for me, it's not. And I'd be, if someone can show me where it was, I'm cool. Okay, I accept it. I'll say that all the time when I used to be in debate rooms and atheist rooms. I would say I would accept it willingly, but they always failed to not disprove, but to explain or anything. And
How do you
here,
disprove? So
well,
the thing is,
I got,
I
I,
can't disprove that there's a pink and purple dotted unicorn in my bathroom.
right. No, no, no. That's not the angle I'm coming from. Obviously, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Uh, again, it's not enough time in this live to explain. You got to understand where I'm coming from. You got to know that I'm one of those guys that say government has no business, religion has no business in government. I believe that for open heartedly, that's crazy. That's totally, absolutely against what I believe in with the God I believe. It says it clearly. It's just ignorant. It shouldn't happen. So I'm one of those guys. So I'm not your typical Christian, if you will. I'm simply a God believer. So
Yeah,
maybe we can
and
find.
that's what I'm asking. Why do you believe in God?
Well, uh, as a child, I've always had dreams. And now the God I'm speaking of, that's how he speaks to. That's the way I always believe is through dreams, of to speak to man. The science behind it, that's a long story. But so as a child, I was
Well,
showed things, and
uh,
then I'm sorry. Hello.
dreams are not really understood by science quite yet, and I'm sure that someday we will get there.
Right.
But dreams aren't evidence. So,
Well,
like for
no, no,
instance,
no, no, no.
if you and I were to stand on a building and each of us dropped a ball, like a regular baseball,
Right.
based on the amount of time it took that baseball to hit the ground and its weight,
Mhm.
we could estimate its wind resistance. We could estimate the gravitational pull on that ball. We could literally calculate everything about that ball based on just those things. And that's how science works.
Right.
So do you have comparable evidence for a God?
Well, yeah, I didn't get to finish. That's what I was saying. It didn't just stop at the dreams. That would, as a critical thinker, that wouldn't be enough for me, obviously. No, it's the dream. Then I'm showing the dream. This is going to happen. Something that there's no way I could possibly know is going to happen in this fashion, and then it happens. That's where it's been for me. I can say hundreds. I can't count how many times that has happened. Now, and then I had witness. I'll tell somebody, I say, look, it's happening again. So I'm going to tell you about it this time and see if it actually happens. Make sure it's just not crazy stuff. And sure enough, it happens. The witness was blown away. Many, it's like, what? Wow. How do you do that? I don't know. I just say, I don't know. But that's one of the.
So you're not accounting for intuition.
Well, intuition. Now that's a big word around. You talk intuition. How lucky can one get? It's like the amount of times that I've done this. It's like me winning the lottery every day.
So
it really is.
That just means you have good intuition. It doesn't mean there's a God.
Well, the intuition is again, the amount of times that I've done it's like
it's irrelevant. I have a friend of mine who's a professional fucking gambler. The man literally makes a living gambling.
Right.
So it's intuition. It's not supernatural.
Yeah, supernatural is something that's another.
Well, a God claim is a supernatural claim.
Right, and the very definition of supernatural basically is not yet understood, or something that can't be explained. I'm sorry, something that cannot be explained.
The definition of supernatural is something that doesn't occur in nature. It's outside of nature. If it occurs in nature, then it's measurable, and so it's a natural phenomenon, which is why we don't have evidence of supernatural.
I see. Well, I'm going by the definition. It says, it's unscientifically cannot be proven, unknown. That's what it says. So, but all I'm saying is this: the amount of times that I've experienced that would be the same as me winning the lottery 100 times in my lifetime, like the big jackpot, 100 times.
How do you calculate that? How do you calculate how do you calculate that? Like, what are you basing that on? What are you basing it against? Do you have another form of you and another form of reality that you can compare it to?
Well, just the very measurement of someone being able to do that, it just don't make sense. And I mean, it just don't happen to be that lucky to where every time it's exactly what you saw.
So this is a logical fallacy. It's an argument from incredulity. Because I don't understand this, therefore God. It doesn't work.
And I was getting to that part. Now then God let me know it is me, and then I'm gonna tell you how it ties together. I gotta throw another one at you. I was about 20. I think I was 20. I was on my way home from work. Been up late, sleepy. The drive that I do, I cross a bridge and then I cross another overpass. It's about a 30-minute drive. I can only remember 15 minutes into the drive before I crossed the bridge. The only thing I remember is my windows were rolled up. It was cold. And I remember something went poof. And I woke up. It was like a wind blew in my face. And I woke up and I was about to ride off an overpass. Now, I do not remember crossing the bridge. I do not remember. But it's at that time that I was reminded of that in a dream that it was me. And that's what it wasn't words spoken. It was just, it was me. That's all I came out of that. That's when I connected those dots. But I couldn't explain that. And someone tried and said, well, the brain's very powerful.
You have an you had an experience you can't explain.
Right.
You have no explanation for it, but you're trying to use God as an explanation?
Well, no, that it was another dream. The dreams I've been talking about that's been proven to, I've seen things before they happen in my dream. And sure enough, it happened.
You realize that the Christian religion stands against that, right?
I do realize
it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible that God considers this to be of the devil, having premonitions, special abilities. These are things of the devil. These are not things from God.
I don't know which Bible that's at. The Bible I read, God spoke to any of the real prophets
God
through
spoke to very
visions and dreams.
specific people. God spoke to very specific people that he had favor for.
Right, there you go. And
So
I
God
believe he
has
has.
favor for you, but not the 6-year-old dying from bone cancer.
Well, that's a 2-hour debate. No, that
I
right
have
there.
nowhere to be right now.
Oh, well, I thought you had to be working 30 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I work on my own schedule. I get to decide when I go. See, the thing is, this
Okay.
isn't adding up. This isn't adding up. This isn't critical thinking. There's nothing about this that is remotely close to critical thinking. You had an experience you can't explain. I'm not
Right.
denying that you had that experience. It's very likely you had an experience, but
Right.
you can't explain it, and you're still giving it agency as from God. This is not 1 + 1. This is literally like not critical thinking.
Okay. Well, I want to give you one
If
more
you had
then.
an experience you can't explain, then
Well,
the
no,
answer to that experience is I don't know what happened.
well, that I didn't know until I had another dream, and the dreams that have
It
been
doesn't matter
proven to
how
me.
many dreams you have, man.
Mhm.
Your dreams are not evidence of a God.
I get that.
They're
It's
evidence of dreams.
okay. Well, let me make this more specific. Right now, I say, well, last night I actually had a dream that I was going to be talking to you tonight, and it's what 10:30 my time. At 11 o'clock, your TV is going to fall, and then it happens. You say, well, that was a coincidence, right?
That is a
That's what you would
coincidence.
say. Okay, now then tomorrow I say, hey man, I dreamed it again. That same TV, you bought a new TV, hung it back on the wall, and you bolted it on the wall. I said that same TV is going to fall because the wall is going to give, and that happens. Would that be another coincidence?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the next day,
Can you stop? Can you prove? Can you prove supernatural causation?
Can I prove at this second? No, I can't show you anything. I can only provide you with a
Okay.
witness.
So a bunch of coincidences happened. There were people to witness it.
Hundreds.
That doesn't mean God.
Well,
It doesn't mean God.
well, we won't get to. I won't get to. I won't get to the proof of how it leads to God this quick. But I will say this. I'll tell you what. I'll give you last two here. Just the most recent. I was in this room, and a guy threw me this bone of, well, if this is true, how can the Noah's Ark and all that? And I was like, dude, I never believed all the animals on the boat. You got the right one here, you know. So I don't believe in praying loud and jumping on corners with all that. So I told him, I said, God, if there's an answer for it, give it to me, you know, and give me something I can go to and show someone, say, okay, here you go. Here's some proof. And the answer I got was this. Go back to Genesis, and I was arguing that the earth and world are two different things. But here's what happened. I go to Genesis, all of a sudden, world, it never was there first in Genesis, period. But it only says earth in Genesis, not world. When God was dealing with Noah, so I literally I've been researching. I'm the only person in the world that realized that the word world is not in Genesis, only earth and ground. And why that's relevant is because God never flooded the world. He only flooded the earth.
He didn't.
Huh?
He
I know he
didn't.
didn't. I didn't say.
There's no earth. He didn't flood the earth, and world is just another word for celestial body in space.
Right.
Mars is a world.
Right. Let me get back to what the thing is here. Out of all these Bible scholars in the world, I'm not a smart person. The guy, that's what was shown. I went and read through the entire thing. World is not there. No one knew that but me, and I was told that and showed that through the dreams again. Here we go again. I got lucky again. What do you know? I hit the lottery.
That's not evidence. I'm sorry, man. That's not evidence.
I understand, but
It's
I know
irrelevant if the word it's irrelevant if the word world was used in place of earth in Genesis. It doesn't matter. It literally has nothing to do with this conversation.
I was just
I
that
asked
was
you for evidence of a
I
God. You had
I don't have
experiences.
evidence.
You
Okay,
had
sir.
experiences. You can't explain them. How do you get to God without evidence?
Like as well, well, my evidence was that's unexplainable. There's no one has that much intuition and luck, man. It just don't
How do you
happen.
know?
I never heard of anyone to do that other than someone that's a God believer.
So 8 billion people on the planet, and you're the special one.
No, no, there are
Ah.
many. No, there's many that
Well, you
you
just
know.
said you'd never heard of anybody having that kind of intuition before.
Well, as far as I know, they're there. I've seen people that there's people on my. I don't know personally, no one that that.
My point being, you had
Uh,
experiences. Those experiences may or may not have been real, but they sure as hell don't lead to a God. That's not evidence of a God.
I agree. For someone else, it's not, and I get
For
that.
you, then you're
For
not
me,
using critical thinking skills. I mean, if that's the little amount of evidence it takes to convince you, that's not critical thinking.
oh, there's more, but I don't like I said. I don't
Personal
want to turn
experience,
it.
personal experience is not evidence.
Right.
Even in court testimony, when people do eyewitness testimony in court, by
Mhm.
itself, we no longer accept it because we know that our memories are faulty and that our brain and eyes play tricks on us. So the only time eyewitness testimony is used in court is when there is corroborating evidence of that eyewitness testimony, because the human brain is funky and does weird shit.
Right. When it crosses to reality is the thing that convinced me that I wasn't just having brain farts. That's when it became real. I said, wait a minute. Okay, it was one thing to dream and think you saw something, and it happens one or two times in your life. But it happens a lot. I mean, I ain't kidding
Well,
you.
fine, it can happen a lot, but it still doesn't point to a God. Even if everything you're saying is 100% true, that you've had these experiences, that you've made these predictions, that you've had these dreams, all that means is that you've had dreams and made predictions. It has nothing, it's not even tangentially related to a God story.
Well, again, I agree with you that that wouldn't be evidence for anyone. I know it's not. I'm not trying to say it is for anyone else. You saying it shouldn't be for me is what you're basically saying, correct? Like that shouldn't be something that I've been convinced.
It shouldn't be evidence
Okay.
for you. It
Oh,
shouldn't,
okay.
because again,
No, I
a
get it. I
tree
get
is
it.
evidence of a tree. It's not evidence of anything else. So a
Okay.
dream is evidence of a dream. Making a prediction is evidence that you can make predictions. Neither of those are even tangentially related to religion of any kind.
So, okay. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, so it's, let me ask you, is it possible someone, getting back to the lottery thing, comparably, uh, the amount of times that I've been seeing into my intuition, and then it comes exactly like I said it
Yep.
happened. I can't count how many times throughout my life.
You said that like 6 times. You can't count the number of times it happened. Great. Fine.
Okay.
That still doesn't lead you to God.
And you said it shouldn't lead me to God because it did.
No, it doesn't. Does not lead you to a God. It just
Well,
means you have a really good intuition.
okay. No, in the dreams, the same dreams that I was convinced of. I'm trying to show you how, if you was asking me that, I was convinced that, okay, this is not just some regular stuff. Now, why is this happening? Then God let me know it was Him in a dream through reality of me driving and almost running off a cliff and waking up. And He said, it was me. And that's
No,
when
I'm
I
sorry,
became
man.
convinced.
Your standard of evidence are very, very low. Like super fucking low. Like this isn't a standard of evidence that I don't even know what to do with it.
Me neither sometimes. I mean, I get it, man. I know where you're at. Actually, my best friend's atheist, and I get it. I know. I would
See, the thing
love
is,
for someone.
you're making claims about the nature of reality. I mean, you have to be able to prove this shit. Otherwise, there's no reason for anybody to take you seriously.
Right, of course, and I get that, and that's why I always thought it really wasn't for me to even tell people about that. It's just for me to know, and that's really what I'm coming to
So
these
then,
days.
again, this is my, oh, man, I So there's this all-knowing, all-powerful God who has a message for all of mankind, and the best he can do is give one person prophetic dreams.
No,
Come on, man.
Let me say this, man. Look, man wrote this Bible, and that's their projection of the God that they were seeing. And
If it wasn't for the Bible, you wouldn't believe in God.
That's not true.
That is absolutely true. We are, all of us, born atheists, and religion is something that is taught to us. We are not born Christian.
Well, no, that's something I can't say either way. I can only speak from.
I can absolutely say that as a matter of fact and with absolute 100% certainty. We are not born religious, because there are so many different cultures in the world who practice so many different religious beliefs, and they all come from one place: fear of the unknown. A tribe in South America has their gods. They invented those gods to explain away nature that they couldn't explain. That's where all gods come from. Well, you were not born a Christian.
Yeah, and no, I'm not saying. Let me see. I'm lost for words here to explain what I'm saying. I get that. I get that. First, I started this off by saying, coming from my background, that you know, it was pounded into your head of these things. I got in trouble. I was the kid that had to go out of the class, out of the Sunday school.
It was still pounded in your head. It was still pounded in your head. It's still a part of your culture.
Well, I got in a lot of trouble.
It's still going to have an influence on you, whether you like it or not.
Well, that's not true. I got in a lot of trouble for challenging everything that I said. It didn't make sense. It wasn't pounded in my head. It was the attempt was there, but I didn't go for it since I was a child, especially not today. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying is, you think, well, had they not told you about this, or had you not read the Bible, that you would know God. I don't believe that. That's
the truth. That's the absolute truth. You're not born knowing math. You're not born understanding science. You're not born understanding God. You are taught God.
Well,
if you've been born in Turkey, you'd be a Muslim, not a Christian.
Well, and at the same time, an elephant is born knowing where water is from its ancestors that it never been.
No, it's not. It follows its mother and it learns where water is. It doesn't know it from birth.
Okay, I'm about to show you this. If I could, well, I'm not allowed.
That's why abandoned baby elephants die if they don't get rescued by humans, because they don't know where they're going and they starve or to death or go dehydrated.
That's true. There is a story. Well, not a story. It's an article. I can, like I said, the DM, I'll do this for. There was this tribe of elephants. They had not been there. That animal died.
Allegorical personal experience is not evidence of anything. Nothing. It's not evidence.
Well, for me, I'm not convinced that what I saw was just simply a dream. That's all that we just stay there.
That's fine. The problem I have is that our beliefs inform our actions, and our actions have consequences. And when you believe in untrue things, you're perpetuating a system of thought based on untrue things. This gets people hurt. It causes problems.
I see where you come from. Hey, man, look. I wish.
So the person who hears your story, and they go and have a dream, and they think it's prophetic because you had a prophetic dream, and now suddenly they're refusing to go to the doctor for some bullshit sickness they have, and they're going to die from it.
No, I would never.
So when I say evidence, I mean tangible, physical fucking evidence that any of the claims you're making is true.
Okay, that is something that I do not have to give you, other than if we met up and I said, "Here's a witness." Then, of course, you would say that witness.
I don't care about witness testimony. Witness testimony is not sufficient.
I got you. So well, that's all I have. The bottom line to all this. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I don't believe you can convince an atheist that God. I think it's impossible. It really is. I
No, it's
don't
not
think.
impossible. No, it's not impossible.
I really do
An
believe it.
atheist doesn't carry the position that there is no God. An atheist carries the position that I am not convinced of a God due to insufficient evidence. If there was evidence of a God, I would believe in a God.
Right. Okay. So what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. A true atheist, I've never known one to say, okay, I believe in God now. The ones
Yeah,
that are
because there's
saying
no
that,
evidence
they're
of God.
lying. Huh?
Because there's no evidence of a God. That's why.
Okay, but you know there are atheists that claim, "Oh, I never believed, now I believe." You know that, right?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
convinced for bad. They're convinced for bad reasons.
Now I mean, some oh, they hurt. Boy, what I'm telling you is, I don't think they really were atheists from the beginning. The
Probably.
Bible is misunderstood. Huh?
Probably.
So the Bible is written by man. I don't put stock in Bible. I put stock in like it's supposed to be.
And
There's no
without the
way.
Bible, you would have no concept of the Christian God. Period.
But I just don't believe that from what I was shown later in life, because I've
Well,
defied,
it's the truth.
I bucked the Bible.
Like
I
I said,
bucked.
if you would have been born under the Quran, you would believe in Allah. You are
I
a
was born.
Christian. You are a
No,
Christian by accident of birth. You happen to be born in a country that socially is largely Christian. Had you been born anywhere else on earth, your religious views would be completely different.
there are no religious views. That's what I'm
Yes,
telling you.
there
I
are.
simply believe that there is a God. Not, I don't believe in the man-written Bible. It was only inspired by stuff they saw. That's it. You know, doesn't.
Missing the point, man. Sorry. I mean, you can not believe it or whatever, but the fact is, your religion is based on your culture. And if you live in America, that culture is Christian. Period. And when
Okay.
you were born, you had no concept of God. None. It was
That
taught
argument.
to you.
That
Even if you
argument.
rejected it, it was still taught to you.
Okay. You know, I'm gonna give you that. I cannot say no. I get that, man. As a baby, we are conformed, just like a racist, a born racist. They're not born racist. They're born a baby, and then they're taught to be a
Yep,
racist. I get it. Trust
exactly.
me, I get it. Okay, I understand that. What I'm saying is this: if I was living over in wherever, and I bucked this, I would have bucked that. Most likely, I would have bucked the same thing and said it don't make sense to me. Okay, I would have said this. No, the world wasn't created in 7 Earth days. It just, it's impossible. As a child, I knew that. 5 years old. Okay, so even if I was over there, I said, okay, the Quran, that don't make sense. You ain't supposed to murder people and da da da. You know, whatever it says. You know, it's just silly. Okay, now I'm there with you, so I agree. I agree
But you're
with you.
still making claims that are unreasonable.
At this moment in my life and what I've experienced, I know you're saying, well, you just can't use that. Well, I wish I could just turn it off like that, but I'm not convinced
It's
that
not
there
a
is
matter of
just a
turning
difference.
it off. Again, you're having experiences that prove the experience. You are not having experiences that prove God.
Okay, that's what you're saying. And you could be right. That's the whole thing of this. I'm
I am
not saying,
right. It's not a
okay,
matter
well,
of
you
could be.
are right. Let's say that. But for me, the evidence, just like you don't have enough evidence to believe, I don't have enough evidence not to believe. Does that make sense?
That doesn't. No, it doesn't. You can't disprove a negative.
Okay. Well, it's obviously not a negative with me, or I wouldn't be sitting there saying
You
it.
can't
You know what I'm saying?
disprove. You can't prove that something doesn't exist. That's not how logic works.
No, I
Like
get that.
there's an object floating in space somewhere. I can't prove to you that that object isn't a fucking golden teapot. Like that's not how logic works. You cannot disprove that something exists.
Well, I understand that. I'm talking something that actually happened is what I'm talking about. And it's stemmed off, like we said, we've agreed that okay, that could
All
just be
right,
a
well then it's
brain
fine. It's fine, and so
fart.
I'm gonna move on. And I appreciate you coming in and giving me your 2 cents.
That's cool, man. Well, you actually you're actually very nice about this, you know, and I appreciate the You know, no, I mean, really, you know how it gets, man. It gets all nasty and all these insults and hurled and all this because of one's belief and why they believe. I'm just simply saying I have not seen enough to disprove what I believe to be true. Let me put it that
All
way.
right, that's fine. But
That's
you have
fair
yourself a
enough.
wonderful weekend, sir.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Moving on to the next guest, which is Cody.
Hello. Hello. We're not going to do that today.
Next guest, Melissa.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you remember me?
No.
No? Okay. Jesus loves you.
Okay.
I'm just fucking with you. I was the one that came on here a couple days ago, telling people to watch the Hail Satan.
I do remember you.
Yeah. I didn't have much time to talk with you that day. Kind of had a lot of things going on. But that was my first time ever joining on one of your lives. And it's like my new favorite live to join in on. You know your shit. It's been a lot of fun joining in on your lives. I do have a couple questions, statements, stuff like that.
Sure.
I'm not religious. I don't really like associate with any group. Not yet, at least. I'm still new to learning about Satanism.
Okay.
I came from a family that my mom was mortified of the church. She was brought in at a very young age and, beaten, stuff like that. So, like, church was a no-go for us growing up. And my father really just didn't give a shit about, religion. So I was never really brought up. I don't know a lot about the Bible.
Yeah.
Everything about the Bible that I know has been, like, forced upon me by, like, going to school. And they're like, oh, read Genesis, whatever the fuck. And I'm like, okay, sure,
What
whatever.
school are you going to?
Well, I go to a religious school.
Oh.
But it is not like a school. It's not like classes where, like, okay, like, you need to read this and agree with what it says. It's like you need to analyze this and create your own thoughts about what it says,
Interesting.
Yeah, so I like a lot, like, it's like a humanities course. Like, they have you, like, do a lot of readings, and
Yeah.
part of it is, the Bible, like, the beginning. So there's that. My question for you is what do you think, what do you have any, like, idea, like, what happens when we die or anything like that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
During life, if you damage your brain, it alters your personality and alter your abilities. You may lose motor function, you may lose vision, sight, or you may lose smell, you may lose your hearing. Depending on the type of brain damage you have, it could fundamentally alter your entire personality. You could become a completely different person.
Right.
Amnesia, all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So at the point of death, which is the ultimate damage to the brain, it ceases to function. No more chemical or electrical signals in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
You're dead. Everything
Right.
that defines that whole entire computer that builds your personality, that has senses, sight, touch, smell, hearing, taste, it's gone. That mechanism is no longer functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no reason to think that your consciousness can survive outside of the brain.
Right. Okay. Because I think that's, like, one of the things that, I struggle with. And I think a lot of people do as well. And that's why they turn to, like, a religion, because that's their way of, like, coping with that. Like,
Yeah.
the first thing I think of is, like, when I die, like, I don't want to see God. I want to see, like, my friends, my family, shit like that. But, like, I don't know, like,
Heaven isn't the promise to see your family again.
and I don't
And
like
from a
heaven.
biblical perspective,
Mm-hmm.
heaven is prostrating before God for eternity. That's how the Bible describes heaven. In
Okay.
eternal worship of God forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not hanging out with your family members. You're not catching a beer. You're not, you're not doing any of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Humans like to reinvent shit and redefine things so that it fits their bias, their desire. But that's not how the Bible describes heaven.
I know that's how my boyfriend thinks. He's atheist. I'm like,
But
what do you?
I prefer the atheist worldview on this one anyway.
Right.
I don't necessarily want a life eternally.
Oh.
I think that knowing this is my only life and then dying and, not having to continue, like
Mm-hmm.
you're just gone. I think that's really a peaceful thought.
Right. Yeah. My boyfriend, like, he's an atheist, and he's like, I'm like, what happens when you die? He's like, nothing. Nothing happens. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of morbid, but like, I've kind of like grown on it, like, or like, I don't. That's the only thing I struggle with, and I think that's why a lot of people turn to religion. Like I said, is like coping with something. Like, oh, I'm dying of cancer. Let me, fucking pray to God because I'm dying and I'm scared. That's just my personal opinion on it. I don't know. I guess I just need to learn to be like when I die that it's just like that's it.
Until there's evidence. The best way to go about this is until there's evidence, one way or the other. Just keep living your life. Assume you don't have a second one. If there is one, great, works
Right.
out. If not, then you pissed away this one worrying about the second.
That's true. Second thing I want to say is I hope you get better. My mom worked in nephrology for a long time. I did a lot of kidney walks. She worked in that field for a really long time, and I know that like it took a toll on her. So as soon as I have a couple extra dollars, I do plan on
You don't have to donate. I tell people outright, if you can't afford it, if you're struggling on your own, don't worry about it.
No, I'm not struggling. I just had a couple. I had like my boyfriend's 30th birthday that we just had today, so that was like a big expense. But I do enjoy your lives, and it keeps me entertained. So I do
Glad
want
to
to
hear
donate.
it. That's the ultimate compliment right there.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I'm trying to think if I have any more questions for you. I'm just reading these comments. Yeah, it is the best live. Sorry, I like reading the comments too. I was trying to see if you remembered me in the beginning so I could fuck with you.
I remember you.
All right, well, I'm going to let the next person come in here.
All right.
I hope a good night.
You do the same. Have a good weekend.
You. I got to figure out how to disconnect now.
All right. So we have 2 more guest requests. The real.
Sure. Hello, my brother.
Hello. Hey, my friend. How's it going?
Very well. How are you?
You know what? Look, the fact of the matter is that, man, I can't complain, man. It's a pretty chill evening, so I can't complain. I actually I had a chance to kind of look over your live a little bit. I'm kind of new to it a little bit,
Okay.
but it's very interesting. I was reading kind of the background. I'm sorry about the kidney failure. That I know dialysis is not pretty at all.
No, it
And I know
is
this.
painful.
Yeah, and I know this because my dad was on it. My dad was on it. You know, when you're hooked up to a machine for a couple of hours every week, man, that was brutal. I know
Yep.
my dad wanted me to go to hang out with him, and I did a couple times, and I realized I couldn't bear to do it because it was just it's horrible, man. It's horrible. So I pray that you get well, man. You know.
How's your what questions did you have?
Okay, well, first I wanted to kind of introduce myself on here, and I wanted to kind of have a discussion with you here because
Go for it.
I'm reading. You know, I would assume you're an atheist. I think, right? So
Correct.
okay, so Well, first, let me kind of introduce who I am. So, I am I'm what you call a deist, right? So, excuse me. Oof. So, for those of you guys who might not know what that is, I believe in a creator. I just don't believe in the system of religion as kind of we know it. I was a person who actually used to be a Muslim. Actually, I used to be Muslim. Then I used to be Christian. Then I was an atheist. Well, an agnostic. Then I was an atheist. And so for me, like I said, I don't believe in religion as we know it because of the fact that I believe
What
that religion,
convinced you that what convinced you that there is a God at all?
is a creation. Well,
Except
oh no, go ahead.
creation isn't a true story. Creation is false. Evolution and the Big Bang are what happened.
Okay, so you asked a good question. How did I believe in I guess creator or whatever the case is? So for me personally, how I uh, kind of believed into the fact of there being a creator is the fact that for me, uh, having something created out of nothing or whatever, or having the creation that we're looking at, or this existence, this earth, this universe that we're looking at, and say to a person that okay, well, this didn't come as a result of creation. For me, it's nonsensical. It doesn't make much sense, right? Now
So
I'm not.
your position is an argument from incredulity. Because you don't understand it, you assigned an agency to it.
No, it's not even that. It's just it really literally like doesn't make sense to where it's like this.
It does
So
make sense though. Like that's the thing. It's it's more plausible that the universe exists as a result of natural forces than it
okay,
does from a supernatural force.
okay, so I need you to define. Okay, so let me ask you. So define what a natural source would be. So did this universe just kind of come into its own on? Did this universe kind of come on its own, or like
We don't
what's?
know. We know the Big Bang happened, but we don't know what caused it.
Okay, see now that's the dilemma I'm talking about here. Okay, so
So then
you say,
the intellectually honest answer is we don't know. And the assertion that a god or creator did it is just that. It's an assertion without evidence.
okay, so no, I get you. I disagree with that though, because at least like I said, for me, I'm not religious at all, right? So I'm not coming with sort of a religious perspective on this. Like I said, I came on the fact that for me personally, when you look at uh, the creation, right? If you're looking at the sun coming up and down, the tides coming in and out, uh, how
Those are
nature
all natural
dictates.
processes.
Wait a minute. So these came on their own, right? In your view, right?
They came about through natural processes. Yes.
And so what would those natural processes consist of in your view?
Oof, various laws of nature, gravity, motion, all that kind of stuff. Like it's well documented science at this point.
Okay, so how would these and so how would these natural laws came to be, like gravity and all these other types of things?
Again, as I said, we don't know what caused it.
Hmm. I don't know. I just like I said that for me
So
that's a
you,
huge.
you you're putting forth the claim that a creator did it. What evidence do you have for that claim?
Well, but my evidence for that would be the creation itself, right? Even though
That's
you
not
probably would.
evidence.
Well,
That's not evidence.
the creation is not evidence of a
No,
creator.
no, it's not evidence of a creator. The
Okay, so
universe is evidence of the universe, but it's not evidence of what caused the universe.
no, that's what I'm trying to ask you. So my thing is that so you believe that this came on its own, right? With no type
Sure.
of. No, I'm asking.
As I've said, I don't know what caused it.
You said you don't know what caused. Okay. See, and that's the issue. It's like, okay, well, because atheists suppose that, okay, well, we don't know what caused it or whatever, but we do believe in science. We do believe that there is a Big Bang, that they don't know.
Based on evidence and observation.
Observation of, okay, so you believe also that the Earth is 4.6 trillion years old. Is that correct?
No.
Or 4.6 billion, right?
4.6 billion.
Billion, right? So my question is, how do scientists come up with the conclusion that the Earth is 4.6 billion years old? How did they come up
Multiple
with this?
different types of dating methods, from radiocarbon dating to isotopic metric. There's all kinds of dating methods.
Well, no, it's not. Okay, so let me help you out here. So first of all, carbon dating itself is not 100% accurate, right?
No, it's not 100% accurate, but it gives you a range.
Mm-hmm. Well, what would that range be? You know what I mean? Like that's a huge range. If you're talking about,
no, it's not. Carbon dating is fair.
Science, right? But hold on a second.
Carbon dating, the dating methods are fairly accurate, especially when you add them together. If you're using three different dating methods, and they all give you a rough estimate of the same amount of time,
I'm saying, okay, so no, I hear what you're saying. So what I'm saying is, me, I love science, right? I have a ton of books in my house, a ton of them, right? And so right now, the consensus that science has on the age of the universe is 4.6 billion years. But years ago, it wasn't that, according to science.
Because science learns new information. Science learns. It continues to grow. We understand it up to this point. Then we receive new information, and it changes what we know. Science is self-correcting.
Okay, so how do we know that this is correct? How do we know that maybe the next 5 to 10 to 20 years that this information won't change?
Because and if it changes, it changes. But so if it changes, it changes. So what?
Well, you don't think that's an issue?
No, I don't. I think that's called growth and learning, not assuming.
No, there's nothing wrong with learning. It's just the fact that, like, science is supposed to be able to answer a lot of these questions that we have.
It's trying to. It's making an effort to do so.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is.
So here's a question. You think the carbon dating method is incorrect and wrong? You think science is unreliable?
I don't think science is unreliable. I do think.
Well, you just said it was. You just got to saying it was unreliable.
But remember, that's only one aspect. But I'm not saying that it's totally unreliable. Now, I do think there are certain instances where we use it, that it's reliable. There, for example, the whole idea of global warming. There's science to back up the fact that there is a phenomenon that is maybe heating the earth in some places and cooling it in other places. So there is cases where it's reliable, but there are other cases where it's not so reliable that it could.
Okay.
That there are mistakes. You know what I mean?
All right. So then, what's your evidence for a creator? Science is the tool we use to understand the nature of reality, and it's the most reliable tool we have available. I'm not aware of any other tool that could replace science and how science works. So what's your evidence for a creator?
My evidence for a creator is the creation that we're looking at. That's it.
That's not evidence for a creator. A tree is evidence of a tree. That's it.
Okay, what about DNA?
What about it? 90-some-odd% of your DNA is junk DNA that does absolutely nothing for you. It's a very small amount of your DNA that decides your height, hair color, body type, eye color, all that shit.
Right. So my thing is that DNA is an extremely complex piece of protein that tells human beings who and what they are. And to say that, for somebody to say that, okay, your DNA, the sum total of that which makes you is something that it's a result of a Big Bang that happened 4.6 billion years ago.
No, Big Bang happened 13.8 billion years ago.
Or 13.8, what 4.6, 13.8 billion, whatever the case is. Like when I look at things like that, I say there's our creation is way too complicated for it to be the result of a random causation of an explosion.
No, it isn't. It's exactly what you would expect to see from natural causes. Your eyes are upside down and backwards. You have appendices that explode and can kill you. Your wisdom teeth can get infected and kill you. The left side of your brain operates the right side of your body. The right side of your brain operates the left side of your body. This is not intelligently designed. We literally, evolution explains the fact that we have 90 some odd % junk DNA. Nothing about this is intelligently designed. As complex as you think it is, evolution explains it in detail. We have more evidence for the process of evolution than we do for the theory of gravity.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
None of this points to a fucking creator.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I fundamentally disagree with that. No, I respect your view and opinion, but I don't.
I mean, you can fundamentally disagree with it, but 2 + 2 is still 4, no matter how you feel about it.
No,
the fact is, the Big Bang happened. We can observe things in a space that confirm the Big Bang.
Okay, so it's what, 13.8 billion you said, right? 13.8
yes.
billion?
As far as we understand it, up to this point, it is 13.8 billion years old.
Okay, I can promise you now that scientists were not around 13.8 billion years ago to be able to observe a Big Bang.
You're right. We observe
if you show it to me, I'll stand corrected. But,
we observe them. We make observations.
By how?
And from those observations, we are able to make predictions.
But that's what I'm saying.
One of the things we observed is the microwave radiation background. Mm-hmm. What we are observing in space confirms the Big Bang. People just didn't pull this shit out of their ass and make a fucking guess. These things come from observations of reality in nature.
That's what I'm saying. Scientists went around 13 billion plus years ago to be able to observe that. That's
oh my fucking God, dude, you're not fucking listening. You're not listening. You're not hearing me.
Okay, then repeat it again what you said. Maybe I missed it.
We base the theory of the Big Bang on observations we are currently making in space, including the microwave radiation background. Everything we observe in space leads to the theory of the Big Bang. Nobody pulled this out of their ass and just made this shit up.
Okay, so
it's based on observation.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You say it's based on a microwave. What now? A microwave
background? Radiation background.
Okay, and so is there evidence to point to the fact that this was around 13.8 billion years ago? Maybe you understand the science better than me. So I want you to kind of explain it to me. That maybe you understand.
First off, I'm not an astrophysicist. The education that I have, I learned from other people who are in the field. I read their articles. I read what they're talking about. And the greater scientific community agrees that the Big Bang happened. So your incredulity, inability to understand it, against the weight of how many astrophysicists and astrologers in like the last 2,000 years.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, your position is that your incredulity, your inability to understand it, has more weight than the thousands of scientists who have worked in this field.
Listen, okay. So my thing is this. My thing is like I told you, right? Like scientists use, because I know the science probably a little bit better than you think I do, right? So let me tell you. So at least from what I understand, right? So what scientists use for the most part in order to date the age of the universe, right, is they use, well, part of it is the Hubble scope, the Hubble telescope, right? So some of the argument was that they can look at the magnitude of the nearest stars to be able to give like a guess. It's not even a perfect estimate, but it's like a guess of how old they think the Earth is. But even with those tools in front of them, it's still a theory. They don't. It's an approximation of
A theory is the
how
best
old
known
they
explanation
think
available based. A theory is the best known explanation based on the available evidence made from observations. When civilians use the word theory,
Wait,
it's
hold on.
not the
Let me
same
call you.
as when a scientist uses the word theory. Theory is a fact in the scientific community. The theory of gravity, fact. The germ theory, fact. Evolution, fact. Big Bang, fact.
Listen, a theory by definition is a theory, right? Is so there. Look,
You are confusing hypothesis with theory. A hypothesis is a series of educated guesses. A theory is a fucking fact based on observation and evidence.
A theory is not a fact, sir. I disagree.
Yes, it is.
Look, so
a theory is a fact. A theory is a fact.
A scientific hypothesis is basically it's an idea that's presupposed. Like,
all right.
For example,
so astronomers estimate the age of the universe in two ways. One, by looking at the oldest stars, and two, by measuring the rate of expansion of the universe and extrapolating. I can't read that word.
Yeah.
Back to the Big Bang. Just as crime detectives can trace the origin of a bullet from the holes in a wall. So we're observing the universe, and when we extrapolate that, it brings us back to the Big Bang. This is settled science.
No, like I said, look, there's
like I said, nothing. Look, your incredulity, your inability to understand, weighed against thousands of fucking scientists who completely disagree with you.
No, I hear what you're saying, but there's a reason why it's not a fact. It's a theory for a reason. Like I said.
Oh my God, dude, a theory is a fucking fact. Wrap your head around this. Well, in the scientific community, when a scientist calls something a fucking theory, it is the best known explanation based on observations and evidence. That is what a theory is in the scientific community.
But that's not a fact.
It is a goddamn fact.
No, sir. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
No, yes, it isn't. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Why aren't you arguing against germ theory? Why aren't you arguing against the theory of gravity? Why is your only bone to pick in regards to theories the Big Bang and evolution?
That's not my only bone to pick.
Really? So you have a bone to pick with the theory of gravity?
But remember, I'm responding to your TikTok comment, which was you weren't convinced about any type of God claims. We're not talking.
Yeah, I'm not, because there's no fucking evidence. Just saying that the universe is evidence of a God is not fucking evidence of a God.
Okay, so like I said, you know, we just have a difference of opinion on the issue.
No, we don't have a difference of opinion. You might like a different color than I do. You might like different food or different music than I do, and that's a fucking opinion. You are disagreeing with well-studied, well-understood scientific facts. This is not a difference of opinion. You're just wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's well studied, but it doesn't mean that it's true. People say still that we evolved from apes, and I'm like, that's bullshit.
No, we didn't
at all.
We evolved from a common ancestor. We did not evolve from apes.
Oh, people believe that. They'll tell you that we evolved from an ancestor.
Well, that's because they fundamentally misunderstand science, and they're wrong.
Well, say it again. Sorry.
That's because they fundamentally do not understand science, and they're wrong. We did not evolve from apes. Apes and mankind evolved from a common ancestor.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Damn.
So right here, definition of the word theory. A scientific theory is an explanation of an aspect of the natural world and universe that has been repeatedly tested and corroborated in accordance with the scientific method, using accepted protocols of observation, measurement, and evaluation of results. Scientific theory is a goddamn fact. Is that fact subject to change when new information is available? Yes, but it is still a fucking fact. I'm tired of people who don't know anything about science acting as if they do science. My father had a saying.
Not a fool that opened.
All right, we're going to restart the live again because apparently I'm having connection issues. So here we go. Jump back in, come back and hang out with me. I'm going to restart the live.